Hi there guys and girls, I thought I would just give you guys my reaction to the Nintendo Switch, because I'm sure you all want to see it. So let's check that out right now. Okay guys, so I guess we'll start with the original Nintendo NES system and its original Switch. There are actually two buttons here, but only one is the real switch. That's this one that says power. That turns it on, and when you press it you get a real satisfying clicking sound. You ready? Oh yeah, there we go. Still works, came from the 80s, very reliable. Then they remodeled it and brought out the top loader. The end of the Nintendo life, start of the Super Nintendo life, brought out a remodeled NES. And it has a new switch which slides upwards. You ready? Ready for the click? There we go. That means it's on. When it's up, it's on. Quality Nintendo switches right there. So then we go over to the Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo is, again, you know, the next step up. You know, looks like they've decided to keep the traditional, the top loader slide up style switch, which we have here. And something interesting about the Super Nintendo Switch that you may not know is that when you turn it on, it actually locks. If you look, see that's off right now, right? See that cartridge slot is empty. If I slide that up, it actually locks the game. You see that plastic thing that slid forward? See that? It actually locks the game in there. So Nintendo really innovating their switches at this point. You know, if I show you guys a cartridge, that is a bad example. Let's find another one. This one right here. All Stars. Yes, that's what that little hole is for, to lock that piece of plastic in. It's not just cosmetic. So that was the Super Nintendo Switch. Now we're going to go on to the Nintendo 64 Switch. A lot of people had a lot of love for the Nintendo 64 console. Very robust system. Again, still sticking with the slide up style switch, which sliding it up doesn't make as loud a click, but sliding it down does. Listen. Interesting. But they did ditch that cartridge locking mechanism from inside the cartridge slot. They got rid of it for the Nintendo 64. I guess they were more confident that they didn't need it anymore, didn't need to lock the game in there. So that was the N64 Switch. Then we go over to the Nintendo GameCube Switch. I'm sorry, this is a bit messy, by the way, guys. None of this stuff's hooked up. It's just it's something that needs to be done. But yeah, here we have the GameCube. Again, first CD-based console from Nintendo. And this has actually 3 buttons on top: an eject, a reset, and a power switch. So they've gotten rid of the slide up style switch and gone back to buttons like on the first one. So we're going to check that one out now. Very nice, very nice. A very satisfying clicking sound coming from that Nintendo Switch. Then we went over to the Wii. The Wii was a juggernaut. People loved it. They loved waving shit at the TV. Did really well for Nintendo. The power switch on this is very small. This is down here, and that's it. Just makes a little clicking sound, and that turns it on. Then we get to the last of the home consoles for Nintendo, and that is the Wii U, which has beautiful sexy black finish. They kept the same button, but they did in fact make it slightly bigger, and that you can hear it there in action. So yeah, those are the Nintendo Switches. I thought you guys would be really interested in it. I guess my personal favorite Nintendo Switch, I guess you really can't go past that original NES Switch. It's just so classic, you know. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So yeah, hope you guys like my little joke. What do I really think of the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo's new console? It's quite interesting actually, and this could be what saves Nintendo. It really could be. I heard a lot of rumors about Nintendo Switch, and with the success of things like Pokemon Go, and the Miitomo, and you know, the Super Mario Run's already getting a lot of hype. These are all mobile phone games. I was really worried that this was going to be the end of Nintendo, and they were going to head towards the mobile market, you know, which is what you always hear come up in the shareholder meetings a lot. Everyone's got a phone. Why aren't the Nintendo games on phone, you know? And maybe they are going to sort of roll out some of the back catalogue stuff on phone, but I'm glad they didn't make some sort of, you know, thing that connects to your phone or something, or some sort of, you know, online service or something. I'm glad the NX is actually a new console, you know, because as you can see, I've got a good history with Nintendo. Those are all the home consoles. I've got pretty much all the handhelds as well. I've got the original Game Boy, I've got Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, and Nintendo 3DS. So, you know, so I do really like Nintendo's products. This one did take me. I watched it at 1 a.m. last night. I was real tired, by the way, guys. So I was already like, you know, sort of state, you know, and I was like forcing myself to stay awake. At 1 a.m. we got the trailer release. And I think I was the fourth person to watch it because Nintendo's site went down. And I'm like, oh, the site's not working. And while everyone was refreshing, I went, fuck it, I'll just go to their YouTube channel. And I loaded it up and it was there. And it said I was the fourth viewer. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I'm going to say it is. So, fourth guy to watch the Nintendo NX reveal trailer in the world. Fuck yeah! But you know, what do I think of the NX? There's always been a wall between home gaming, and this is just talking Nintendo, not talking anyone else. Home gaming and portable gaming. They've never been related, other than having like, you know, for example, I got Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance on GameCube. But I've also got Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance on, you know, Game Boy Advance. You know, but they're different games. They're totally different. They don't in no way communicate with each other or share information, or, you know, if I unlock something in the big game, does it unlock something in that game? It's never really worked like that. As things have gone on, they've tried to incorporate that. So, you know, that the home version will then, you know, do something to the, you know, the portable version sort of thing, unlock something or etc. So, but they've still been very separate. I didn't even like it. In fact, recently I had to do it. I wanted to play the Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice demo on 3DS, and it's like, sorry, you have to have your Nintendo account linked. You have to have your Nintendo account. And I had a Nintendo account. I had on my Wii U. But ever since Wii and 3DS, I've been really careful with accounts and syncing shit and stuff, because I've had friends who've lost fucking everything because they've done a misstep or they haven't done a misstep, and you know, you do something wrong or sync data or copy data of your SD cards and something goes wrong, you fucking lose everything. I hate that. And so what I did was I just had a console for my an account for my Wii U, but I never put it on my 3DS. I just left them separate, but it was like forcing me now, and I'm like, oh, fuck, okay, fine. So I synced it, everything was fine. Played the Ace Attorney demo, which was all good. But it just goes to show how with that account, they were still trying to make it all shared, all within one family. Wii U and 3DS are like, you know, brothers sort of thing. Whereas this is the next step, the NX, Nintendo Switch, whatever you want to call it. This is one console now that does both. This is, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if that's it for Nintendo handheld market, because the Nintendo Switch now is that. That's what it is. I can now take the Nintendo Switch out. I can multiplayer with people. The controllers disconnect. I can, you know, can plug it into my TV, play the same game here, you know. And if that little unit has as much power to run at full HD or 4K, I'm guessing full HD on a TV, then there's no problem, you know. And that's got that probably little 720p screen, you know. That's not going to be an issue for some people. Some people are all about, you know, oh, it's got to be 4K, you know. It depends what you're playing. Like, you know, Mortal Kombat looks awesome in 60 frames and 1080, and I'm sure there's going to be a 4K one, you know. But Nintendo's games, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be in 4K, don't get me wrong, but Nintendo's games always look good regardless. And that's what I've always liked about Nintendo. I've always used ATI graphic cards, which is the graphic card I like to use in my PCs. The GameCube and the Wii, and I believe the Wii U all had ATI graphic cards in them. I'm not sure about this new one though, so I think there was some discussion about that it might not be ATI. Not sure though. But, yeah, so, you know, Nintendo Switch, they're going for something that's fully portable. I can use it at home. I can then put it in my bag, take it on the train with me. Same game, you know, I don't need to have two different versions. I don't need to buy two games. You know, so it's the same game. I take it with me. I can take it to my friend's house, you know, can play multiplayer on their floor. I don't even need a screen for it. It's got its own self-contained screen. Some of the things I will say is those little controllers that disconnect and they're like that. They look so fucking small. You know, I don't think my big clunky, and I have kind of skinny fingers, but some of my friends have big, even thicker hands than me. I don't know, it seems like that might be an issue. However, there is a Pro controller that Nintendo showed, so I guess that eliminates that problem. And they're back on cartridges, which is fucking awesome because I've always loved cartridges. All the cartridges I've got for all my systems still work. Apart from one, and that's on Sega. Sonic 3, they used a chip in there that saves your save game. But after what we call 10,000 write cycles every time it updates, the chip dies. So the game works. I can still play Sonic 3, no problem, but it won't save unless I can replace that chip in it. So that's a bit of a pain in the ass. Some games just have a battery that you replace, but Sega thought, I guess so, they were ahead of the curve by putting a chip in. But that aside, all the games I've got work still. All the cartridge ones. I've never had a problem with them. They're so robust, you know. And even the DS ones and that, never really had problems with them. So microchip technology now has fast exceeded optical media. DVDs, you know, Blu-rays, you know, they can hold 50 gig. But, you know, fuck, my phone, my LG G4 phone, which is 32 gig, I put an SD card in it, 64 gig, and it didn't even cost that much. I think the chip cost me like $60, you know, and that's Australian dollars, right? It cost me that. Now, if you think about it, a game in Australia costs $80 to $100. So this, even if, and that 60 was my retail price. Even if that was the price for Nintendo things, there'd still be a profit margin. But, you know, if Nintendo are going to mass produce it, they're going to get that chip even cheaper. You know, so they're going to make even more money on it. You know, and they're still going to be able to hold 64 gig, which is, you know, what, 14 gig more than an optical disc? You know, so, and everything about cartridges is better. They're better for younger players, even though this was sort of marketed towards adults. They're better for younger players. They're faster access. That's the reason why arcades are so fucking awesome. A lot of you guys might not understand. When I say arcades are the best, it's because of that. Everything's on chip and it's instant, you know. And these systems, they haven't been able to, you know, when they were out, like Mortal Kombat 1, for example, it couldn't play Mortal Kombat 1 at the same as the arcade because everything in the arcade was cutting edge and it was designed to run that one game. Whereas a home system is like a cut down, cheap version, you know. But now we're at the stage where that doesn't matter. Technology is so advanced that, you know, getting everything off chip is super fast and fast access, you know, and that technology is no longer a problem for the Nintendo system. So it means that they're going to be able to have games like they showed in their trailer, you know, Skyrim, NBA, Mario, Zelda, I think I left one out. But, you know, even if they did, let's say they did have a Mortal Kombat X, maybe it wouldn't be 4K, but it could still be 1080p and 60 FPS, I reckon, running off chip. And loading those checks just real fast, you know, and I think that's a big advantage, you know, and I'm glad they've gone back to the cartridges because I still think the cartridges were the best, you know, but I understand, you know, those were older, you know, older technology. old cartridges. For example, a Nintendo 64 game, I think it holds 80 megabytes. Yeah, megabytes. Whereas these days, you know, like I just said, I've got a 64 gig micro SD card. Micro in my phone. That's as big as my thumb, well, that fingernail, pretty much. Whereas you look at a Nintendo 64 game, MK4, look how big this thing is, man. This holds 80 megabytes. Megabytes. You know? One thing I'm interested about of the NX is the power. How long will the battery last? Can it be powered by an external power source? I bring this up recently because I just bought a power bank. You know, USB power banks aren't, you know, big news or anything, but I just bought this really good one. In fact, I'll just show you guys it. So this is my new power bank. It's 10,000 mAh, milliamp hours. So, it's not the biggest one out there. I've seen 12,000, I've seen 15,000, you know, but it's good. I like it. And the reason I like it is it has this display on it, which I'm facing the wrong way. As you can see there, 100. That's because I charged it last night. It means it's got 100% charge in it. It's ready to charge whatever I like. This is a big fucking battery. You know, for example, the Samsung Note batteries are exploding. Just so you know, I believe with 3,000 mAh, and this is 10,000, which is 3 times that, which means this could literally blow a hole in my leg if there was something wrong with it. But there's not, thank God. But it just goes to show you battery power is quite intense. I was looking, and I've been thinking about stuff recently. I've been messing around with electronics a lot lately. I've been thinking, with something like this now, this could power my Nest over there. I looked at it. The voltage needs to be boosted up, which you can do, and you may need to maintain the current. But it's possible that I could power home consoles with one of these. And probably for a long time too. I don't think the drain would be that severe. You know, this is all in theory, of course. But I bring it up because something like that little Nintendo Switch has to have a decent battery. Because Nintendo's always been about the battery life. You know, the 3DS sort of suffered from a bit, you know, the battery going down a bit quicker than other things like the Game Boy, man. Back in the day, the Game Boy, 4 AA batteries, and that thing would last fucking forever. It was great. Same with the Game Boy Color, same with the DS. It went all the way up to the 3DS. And that's when it sort of started, you know, the technology was more demanding. And the reason I bring something like this up, hopefully, is that you can plug this into the NX and power it. I'm assuming you can. Like, USB charging should be a thing, but I didn't see anything on there, so. But, you know, that being said, my 3DS, I've never seen an official USB charger for it, but I've got one. It's just a cord. It goes USB into the... It's just got the Nintendo end on it and charges the system. I found one in a Daiso store for $3. You know, so... My point is, the batteries, you know, these days, the USB, the way USB battery packs are and everything, you know, you should be able to charge anything. I should be able to recharge my laptop with that, I reckon. It should be a matter of transference, taking, you know, 10,000 mAh from there and moving it onto my battery, laptop battery that's 10,000 mAh. I should just be able to, in my mind, shift power, you know, from here to there to there to here, you know, and I wish technology embraced that more often. Because there might be a time when my laptop's fully charged but my phone's dead and I need to charge my phone. In that case I can just use the USB port. Let's say it was the other way around and I needed to get something quickly off the laptop. I just need to put a bit of power in there. You know. Anyway, I'm way off. But power for me is a very interesting topic. They haven't talked about the specs of the NX yet. They've just showed it. Looks like it has the standard 4 buttons on each side and the controller with 2 shoulder buttons. It's got a headphone plug on top. One thing I'll notice that, I did notice in the reveal trailer for it was that when they showed him playing the NX on the TV playing Mario, or her, whoever it was, she had all the amiibos in front of the TV. Now this could just be a coincidence. Oh yeah, she likes Mario, so she's got the Yoshi amiibo there. But for me, what they were saying is that they might possibly continue the support of amiibo on NX. That's what I took away from that little hint in the trailer. So I'm not sure if I'm right or not, but we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, NX, I want to get one. I'm hoping, I don't reckon they're going to be expensive. I'm hoping that they're not going to be. To me, it looks like a 3DS sort of handheld. If that's the case, I'm projecting $400 Australian. When the 3DS came out, I think it was like 300, like here. So Xbox One when it came out here was 550. To give you an example. So I'm predicting. I think the Wii U price was about 400. 300, 400. I'm predicting about the same price as Wii U. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'd like to get one. It could be good for Mortal Kombat. It could be good if I ever went overseas and like, if, let's say I happened to end up at a con with you guys and you all showed up and, the number one request I always get is, I want to play you at Mortal Kombat. We could do it. We could literally put the Nintendo Switch there on the console and we could play right there. That's kind of cool, so hopefully there'll be some Mortal Kombat games on the Switch, because the Wii U got fucked over by Warner Brothers. I'm hoping that changes. Warner Brothers logo is evident on the, the announcement of the Switch. They always release this image that says, oh, we have the support of all these companies. For now they do, but they had the same support for the Wii U, and look what happened. They all abandoned ship. Apart from Ubisoft. I like that about Ubisoft. Ubisoft have some integrity. They hung in there the longest, They hung in there as long as they could and continued to support the Wii U. And people like me, we notice that sort of shit, Ubisoft gets a lot of flack for what they do, but or for things that have happened, but there's always a story behind it. I know some people at Ubisoft and they're really good people, so I'm sure, I'm hoping that the other developers take use them as an example and continue to support the NX, the Nintendo Switch, I don't think it's going to be a problem this time around. I think they've got a more powerful system that can play all these games, and I don't think it's going to be like the gamepad was kind of, I don't know, some people didn't like the gamepad. I like the fucking gamepad for the Wii U. I think it's fucking cool. The biggest problem for me with the Wii U is that it should have supported 4 gamepads, not this like use your Wii controllers with it. It's so fucking confusing. Every time we play, it's like, oh, how do we do it again? Oh, we got to bring up that menu, and now how do I add in a Wii controller and not a Wii U one, and how do we do this? And it's not easy, and that's the opposite of what Nintendo's always been, So they shouldn't. Honestly, they shouldn't support anything Wii U other than the amiibos for the NX, and it looks like that's what they're doing anyway. So that's it. That's it for my video on the Nintendo Switch. I'll put some images in this video, but that's all I've got. There's nothing more than these two so far, but I may do another video in future about it. We'll see what happens. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys for another video real soon. Peace.